What's happening, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And last night, the transfer window slammed shut. And for Chelsea, we managed to get Saúl Ñíguez on loan from Atletico Madrid to provide some much needed cover in the squad in that central midfield area. But ultimately, we just couldn't agree a deal to bring Jules Koundé in, the French centre-back from Sevilla. But for me, a very positive window for the Blues. Obviously, bringing in Bettinelli in goal, replacing Caballero as a third-choice keeper. Obviously, the big return of Romelu Lukaku from Inter Milan and the signing of Saúl Ñíguez. George, how would you assess this window from a Chelsea point of view? Do you feel that we've brought in players in all the areas that we needed and the squad's kind of fully equipped to roll forward this season?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm very happy with what Chelsea have done in the window. We were just discussing it briefly before we came on, and we label it as a 9 out of 10. Really, I think the only question mark was Koundé, if we could get that over the line. But Sevilla were playing hardball, so fair play to them. It's not a disaster. We've got plenty of cover in that area. But we all said, didn't we? You know, ages ago, way before the window opened, that a striker was a must. We must get a striker in. Looking back at it, Haaland would have been probably a better investment considering his age. But again, from what we've heard, it seems impossible. I mean, we got some in-depth insight, didn't we, from Neil Barnett on the pod about the agent and what he was demanding. And so Lukaku suits us perfectly. I'm not the biggest fan of Romelu Lukaku. Like that's public knowledge now on the channel, but I think he does suit what Chelsea needs up front and how we play. If you look at all the strikers that have done well at Chelsea, he fits the mould. And yeah, you know, he was the star man. And bringing in Saúl as well, a player that goes a bit under the radar, but he's always been one of those players to watch. Not fancied at Atletico, not fancied in the Spain squad either. But for whatever reason, I think it's a good bit of business, you know, to get that loan deal, see how he goes, and then we've got an option to buy as well. So all in all, mate, I'm really pleased with what's happened this window. Yeah,
I mean, can't complain as Chelsea fans at all. I feel the areas that needed to be addressed were addressed. And hopefully we can kind of hit the ground running again after the international break. But, you know, I was concerned, as I'm sure you were as well, that if we didn't get the central midfield player in, that over the course of kind of a 60, 70 game season, going deep into competitions with, you know, suspensions and, you know, injuries, etc., that we weren't going to have enough cover in that midfield area of just Jorginho, Kante and Kovacic, with Loftus-Cheek not really in favour, Ross Barkley, well, like surplus to requirements. So, you know, the Ñíguez deal was kind of, it was on, then it was off, then it was on again, off again, and then obviously at the 11th hour, back on. Just how important do you reckon that could be, George, going into the season?
Well, I think it's hugely important. You know, I think the squad, like we've said, is probably the best it's been for a long, long time. And there was discussions again when we spoke to Neil about that imbalance at times. But I think Chelsea have addressed the areas that needed to be addressed. And I honestly have complete faith in every player that's in this squad. I mean, even when you touched on players like Barkley and stuff, yeah, he may be surplus to requirements. But if you ask me, you know, if we were really, really stretched for cover, and he had to come in for a cup game, I trust him to do a job like I trust all the players. And we've got some exciting players out on loan as well who could possibly come back and do a job. And we haven't even touched on the fact, you know, of Chalobah made such a great start in his first couple of games at Chelsea, who could fill in and do a job. So I think it's promising times for Chelsea, and we've got definitely one of the strongest squads in Europe. It's just, can we build on it? You know, the league is the big one this season. Can we build on that? Can we make a respectable defence of the European title? And I think with this squad and the transfer window that we've done, it's been a successful one.
Yeah, I think if you look at the squad depth, you know, I think we've pretty much in every position got pretty much two top quality players for each position. I don't really think we've had that for a long time now. So that's a real plus to push forward with. But George, do you think, how disappointed are you that we missed out on Jules Koundé? Do you think that's a massive problem?
I don't think it's a massive problem, no. Again, it would have been a kind of luxury vantage point from Chelsea's point of view if we could have got him in just to be absolutely certain that we had cover. But again, does he come straight into the fold? I mean, we've done so well at the back in recent games. It's hard to see. Sometimes it's hard to put pressure on a new player to come in and adjust. And it might have actually worked against us. If you look at it, it might have disrupted the rhythm of that formation. It would have taken him time to get used to how Thomas Tuchel wants him to play. And so sometimes, bringing in players isn't necessarily a good thing. I think with areas that we had to get one in, I mean, we knew the amount of chances we created at the top end of the pitch and didn't convert them. And therefore Lukaku or any striker was a must. But for the defence, I think sometimes you don't need to upset the cart too much. And we've actually got a lot of players in there who can do a job. So I'm almost at the opinion of, if they were prepared to come down to our price, then yes, but I'm not. I think I stand by Chelsea in saying that I'm not going to agree with trying to get greedy money and pay over the odds for someone that we don't necessarily need straight away.
Yeah, I think ultimately I would agree with that. Obviously, he's probably going to come in as a replacement for Thiago Silva, but just to get him in kind of a season early, just to kind of bed into the squad and the way of playing. But, we could still go back for him in January, and I imagine he could still be a target next summer if Chelsea are a big fan of the player. So I don't think Koundé to Chelsea is 100% dead in terms of him ever playing for the club, but I think it's kind of just on the back burners, that one. George, I just wanted to get your thoughts on a player that was linked with a move away on deadline day, but ultimately ended up staying, and that's obviously academy graduate Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's linked with a loan move to Borussia Dortmund. Are you surprised that the club kept hold of him and didn't let him go and develop and get some minutes? Because it's kind of clear that, having been an unused sub in the first 3 Premier League games of the season, he's not going to get the required minutes that he would want or that he needs to progress his career and develop as a footballer.
Well, again, I think it works in our advantage that he has stayed, because we've got another option in that area. So from Chelsea's point of view, it's good, but I do understand where you're coming from with his personal development. I mean, we'll never get to the bottom of what he wanted. Obviously, the podcast that's coming out with Olivia Bazaglo, I mean, she was of the opinion, as are you, that he should have gone out. I mean, I didn't get my chance to say, but I actually think that it was better for him to stay, even though he's probably not getting game time. I think I actually really rate him. I think he could make that step up and be a first team player. I know it's going to be incredibly difficult with the front 3 options that we've got, but every time he does play, I do still think that he adds real firepower to us. So I don't know. It really, we'll never get to the bottom of it. If he really wanted to go, then that's a bit disappointing. But ultimately, Chelsea win here because we've got another option if he does play.
Yeah, I just can't see him featuring a lot. If everyone's pretty fit throughout, the likes of Mount, Havertz, Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech, they're all ahead of him really in the pecking order. He's really going to have to take his chances when they come to him, whether that's in the League Cup, a substitute appearance, coming in for someone who's injured. He's really going to have to take his opportunities. He's not going to get a lot of them this season. And I don't think he's comfortable at right wing back either. And part of the thinking of him staying, I feel, is that the club perhaps wanted him as covering that right wing back area, because we don't really have that. So that could be part of the thinking as to why he stayed. But moving on to the actual outgoings, George, obviously he was well known, and we had quite a bloated squad. We needed to ship on a lot of players. We brought back in a lot of money. So from a business perspective, the club's done very well with, I think we actually made a profit this window, which is fantastic. Some big sales of the likes of Tammy Abraham, Kurt Zuma, Mark Guay, Fikayo Tomori. George, are you pleased with the players that have been shipped out and the money that's come back into the club, or are you disappointed, apart from Tammy, with some of the outgoings? I mean, I know I'm still a bit disappointed about Tomori being shipped on, but obviously Chalobah's kind of been unearthed, but it would have been nice to have seen Tomori still.
Yeah, Tomori was the one, wasn't it, that we were all a bit perplexed by with the offer of their option to buy, and they've taken full advantage of that. Yeah, Tammy, I'm disappointed. I mean, I know we don't share the opinion on this, mate, but I do believe he scores goals at the highest level, could have done something else in the Premier League with someone else. I really do think we could have just given him a loan to another Premier League club and kept him just for a future player for us, maybe. But I understand he's not going to play in front of Lukaku, and therefore fair play to him. He believes that he's good enough to go and play out somewhere else, and he's gone and taken his football out in Italy. So I wish him all the best of luck. But you never know. We might buy him back, as we've got that in the clause as well. So you never know. I'm not sure about did Bakayoko go back to AC Milan?
Yeah, he went back out on loan for the season.
He's a strange one because we never really saw him in a Chelsea shirt. So I would have liked to have seen at least. I'll be watching him closely to see how that goes, because at the time he was playing fantastically well at was it Monaco? Was he at?
Yeah, Monaco.
So I don't really know what happened there, but for whatever reason, he's never been fancied in a blue shirt ever since he arrived. So sometimes it doesn't help with constant change of managers every time. But other than that, mate, yeah, happy with the outgoings. Gallagher's at Palace. I don't know if they bought him or
on loan for
on
the
loan.
season.
So I'm happy with that. And Southampton have got
Tino Livramento.
Yeah, that's the one who I also rate very highly. So I hope they do well on their loan spells, as Billy Gilmore is at Norwich as well. So all in all, I'm very happy, mate.
Yeah, I don't think we can complain, to be honest, at Chelsea fans with the window. The squad, it's got the depth it needs now. It's looking really strong in all positions. And hopefully it can be a successful season where we can add another trophy to the Super Cup, which is already in the bag. The league title is kind of not a must this season, but a challenge, and we need to push close. So we've got the squad to do it. But guys, that's just myself and George's thoughts on Chelsea's transfer window. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.